morning, everyone. Welcome to Minnesota Home and Garden. Today we are at the Robbinsdale Community Gardens where I will be volunteering all summer. So today I'm going to teach you about good planting practices, and the method that we're going to use today is a square foot method gardening, which is kind of intense gardening. And if you want to look at my Instagram page, we have some photos and information about that. But in general, it's one large plant per square foot and 3 or 4 medium-sized plants, or about 6 tiny plants, like 6 radishes or carrots, 1 cabbage. It's kind of tricky on a couple of the larger plants like zucchini. Those can get very large, so you might want to give it a little bit more space, like 2 spots. So that's the method we're going to use, and just good gardening practices to get started here. Just a reminder, it's May 11th in Minnesota, and looks can be deceiving. It feels great out, but doesn't mean you're not exposing yourself to the sun. So I just want to remind everyone to use a really good sunscreen every day when you go out in the garden. Another thing to include is bug spray. Depending on where you live, the bugs can start coming out this time of year. And this is just a really good cream that we actually got for our trip to Costa Rica. It works great, and it also comes in a spray. And I can leave a link to that in the comments if you're interested. Another thing that's really important to remember is to stay hydrated. So always bring some water or a beverage with you when you're out gardening. The next thing you're going to want to do is prep your soil. A lot of people, when they start gardening this time of year, this is how it looks. There's some weeds, it's kind of gravelly. You want to mix in some good compost. Today we have to have a nice organic fertilizer here. It's just a really well balanced fertilizer. I can also leave a link in the comments for that. This scoop here, which is probably equivalent to about a coffee cup size of fertilizer, is more than plenty for a 5x5 garden. So you're just going to want to go ahead and loosely kind of put that everywhere. And the next step you're going to want to do is go ahead and just mix it in. You don't want to just leave it on the surface. You want to get it nice into the soil. Generally speaking, organic fertilizers don't burn your plants, and it's always good to use an organic. There's so many great options, and you don't really have to worry about it. I recommend just using a general, all-purpose, well-balanced fertilizer for your garden. If you're using organic compost and high-quality soil, that's usually more than enough. Now that that's all mixed in, the easiest way to do a square foot garden is just to start a map. So start a grid, just draw some basic lines like this, and you can see some other gardeners, if you look around, they actually use string, and that's another great way. But you can just do a really generic map like this, just to get started. That looks great. So we've got our fertilizer in, we've got a basic map here. Now we just got to take our plants and start transplanting them. So a tomato plant, this is a green zebra, very delicious. This is, we're going to do just one, it's considered a larger plant. One good thing to do is loosen up the roots just like this. Just squeeze the bottom of the container. A lot of plants, especially if you get it from a garden center, they're going to be root bound, and they can kind of get stuck to the bottom, and you don't want to accidentally rip out the plant when you're pulling them out. Then just gently dump them out like this. Look at all those beautiful roots. It's not too root bound because we grew this ourselves. You're just going to dig a hole like this. Tomato plants you can actually plant fairly deep, and they will actually do really well. And these little furs right here will actually turn into roots, and you'll actually have a really healthy, sturdy plant that way. Here we go. Just nicely planted in there. Right now when it's super tiny like this, you won't need any supports, but I recommend putting in a nice strong stake for the main part, strapping it up, and then also doing a cage around it for support so it grows up really nice. You'll find that it'll be easier to harvest and maintain your tomato plant that way. Keep it off the ground. So we got that planted right there. Perfect. Next we have a nice eggplant. Just like the tomato, we're going to give it 1 square foot. Always try to bring your labels with you and put your labels in so you don't forget what's what. You're gonna do the exact same planting technique. You're gonna squeeze the container. Be careful for the roots. And put it in just like that. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay. We've got some seeds in here as well. It's always easy to direct sow green beans. These are wax beans, so it's like a golden green bean. This is a bush format, which is great for a community garden like this. I'm gonna put 4 beans in each square. You could maybe do it a little bit tighter, but I think that'll be just really nice and spaced apart greatly. All right. So I'm just gonna place them on top of the soil just like that. I'm just gonna do 4. And these go, you're just gonna read the depth plant here, and it says 1 inch. Go ahead and just push it in 1 inch just like that. And just lightly smooth out the soil. It doesn't hurt to add a label here. We're gonna do that as well as we get planting. I'll just leave this package here to remember to do a plant label there. And we'll also do some turnips today. And I think I'm gonna do about 8 turnips in each spot. You can thin it out later if you need to. And then as soon as we're done laying all of our plants out and getting it landscaped, we're gonna go ahead and do some easy straw that we have over there. And we're gonna do about 1.5 inch layer of easy straw. And then we're gonna do a really nice deep watering. If you're not familiar with deep watering, it is a way to train your plants to have deeper roots. So for example, this tomato plant right here, we're gonna hold down the water can and we're gonna count slowly till 10. And then what happens is it's a good amount of water, it brings those roots down, and you're gonna purposely not water this plant for a couple days. What happens is the roots will get thirsty and they'll naturally go deeper into the ground to kind of get that moist soil, and you're training your roots to go downward. If you keep watering your plants every single day, your roots will not be trained to go down for any reason. And when July and those hot weather comes about, your plant's gonna get stressed, it's not gonna be strong, it might topple over. And so it's better, actually, believe it or not, just to do deep watering every few days. It's better for your plant. Mulching is also very, very important, even early on in the gardening. It's an easy way to conserve water. It's also a good way to protect your plants from various diseases and bacteria that are naturally found in dirt. So when you water your plants, dirt naturally kind of splashes up. So the mulch kind of prevents that from happening. So that's also kind of great. So I'm going to continue planting, and you're welcome to just watch along, and then as soon as we're done, we're going to go on to the next step. it's looking pretty good. Everything's pretty well planted here. We're just going to do our last few seedlings here. Some more golden beans, also known as wax beans. Okay, everything looks pretty great. I'm just going to pull a few more weeds out, but as you can see, this is really well planted. It's a nice variety of stuff, but let's just go through it real quick. We've got eggplant right here. We've got green tomato, apricot zebra tomato. We've got another green zebra. We've got a purple tomatillo. We've got some Swiss chard right here. We've got a white currant tomato, which is wonderful. We've got Sun King broccoli, which does really well in our summer heat in Minnesota, which is a great option if anybody's looking for one. We've got some Georgia collards right here. We've got Rober cauliflower right along there. So it's a good variety. It's going to be a great year. Let's go ahead and get going on some mulch. Using the community garden this year. Thank you to the Master Gardener program for supplying it. This is an easy product to use. It drains really well. It's very light, it's very airy, but it stays to the garden really well. If you've never used it, I recommend that you give it a try. It's a pretty good price and it's very condensed bag, goes a long way. And if you're wondering about the seeds we just planted, most seeds can pop right through this. If you wanted to leave those areas blank until you saw your seedlings pop up and just do it around, you could do that. But most seedlings, including carrots, will pop right through. So we're all planted, we're mulched, we're fertilized. Now it's time to get watering. So like I said, we're gonna practice deep watering. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You count to 10, you're gonna be practicing the deep watering. If you feel like you're struggling, you're they might just bounce back. So just keep doing good gardening practices. Don't overwater, don't over fertilize, keep it simple. Space plants apart properly like we did here today, and you're gonna have a great year. So you just have to give it time. So I hope everybody has a great garden season. Just a reminder, don't forget to bring sunscreen, water, a good hat when you get started every day. Thanks guys, have a great year.